Rob Baxter joins us. Rob, I'm trying to read your expression here. It's a win. You were 21-3 up at half-time. I guess you would have hoped to maybe put them away, or what did you expect from that second half?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you finish with in the end a comfortable scoreline, you haven't banged in that fourth try, you've got to be careful you don't get it wrong in your own mind. I thought we put in a very good, very professional, hard-working performance tonight. We don't traditionally come here and do very well. Sale are a good side, they win a lot of games here. And we've come here, we put a game plan in place, we stuck with it very rigidly, fair play to the players, they worked very hard within it. It wasn't easy for us to do what we did, and I think that's the important thing for us all to remember. We had to put a lot of hard work into that performance, and to only concede 3 points away from home in any Premiership game is a big indicator of a team that's been prepared to be very disciplined and work very hard.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we sit up here and we want lots of entertainment for everyone in the stadiums and everyone watching at home. But these, as I said before, are the hard yards in the Premiership, aren't they? You just want the wins. You're not looking for try bonuses week in, week out, are you?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, we scored 8 tries last week in the Premiership, and that had a bit of everything. But then sometimes you've got to lock it down and you've got to do the right things repeatedly. I mean, we controlled territory for the majority of the game. We controlled possession for a large part of the game. Our forwards kind of had some key moments within the game around the set piece, which again was very important. And I thought defensively we were outstanding, and we've kind of worked ourselves to a standstill repeatedly with multiple sets of defence. And once we got the lead and Sale had to play from deep, we looked like we were very comfortable.
Yeah, you did look very comfortable, particularly the driving maul. The old Chiefs driving maul looked good again tonight, didn't it? Were you pleased with that?
Yeah, well, I've said for a few weeks now we're starting to get to where we need to be. We're starting to look more comfortable playing at the intensity levels we need to be a good competitive Premiership side, and that's what it's about. For whatever reasons, we took our foot off the pedal a little bit, I think, in pre-season, more mentally than physically. And I think, the Clermont game was great for us, gave us a real kick in the pants, and it made us face a few home truths. And since then, if you actually look at all our performances since Clermont, Ulster away, Bath, even though there's been a couple of tight results that have gone against us, we've actually performed at a decent level.
We're just watching that penalty try, and Josh Beaumont, Magnus, taking one for the team there really with that, but it's such a difficult thing to stop, isn't it?
Yeah, we spoke about it at half-time. They're really, really good at doing it, and as you said, once it gets moving, it's difficult to stop. I think in general, though, today we kind of struggled once we got hold of the ball. We gave it away, and we couldn't really get any forward momentum. And once that happens, it's really hard to put a side like Exeter on the back foot. We kind of struggled with that all night tonight, really.
How's your view on it all?
Well, I think most of it's been said. I mean, the second half was great for insomniacs, but not great for anyone else, to be perfectly honest. The thing that impressed me the most about Exeter actually was their line speed. Even when they had the game won and in the bag, they got good width on that line. There was only 3 or 4 occasions where Sale got good, fast phase ball, and yet even when they got that, you saw McGinty still faced with a wall of defence in front of him and no real options. So it made Sale probably look a lot worse than they actually were. Had Sale have got more positivity in the carry, won more of those collisions, maybe it would have been a lot harder to get that defensive line in place, but that's ultimately their problem. They got smashed off the field tonight.
I think we were tired as well from the amount of defending that we had to do to then, transition into the attack, into our attacking shape is quite difficult, and everyone's tired, so it's difficult to turn that round into attack once you've been defending for 10 minutes.
I think we've got to be careful we don't underestimate a 5-day turnaround for Sale. To be travelling down to Wasps on Sunday and then playing again here on Friday night, that takes a bit of doing, that takes a bit out of you, and you only need to be a little bit off. And it can hurt you, and I think 5-day turnarounds are probably the toughest thing we're facing in the Premiership, and I think that's got to be something we mentioned tonight as well.
Absolutely, and I'm wondering, were you looking to exploit that? You weren't committing too many to the breakdown, you were just fanning out just a wall of defence. Did you just think, we'll keep pounding them back, we'll just keep pounding them back?
Well, we certainly planned on trying to keep some tempo into the game and some multi-phase in the game for that reason, because I don't care what anybody says, batteries do run low. And I think it happened a little bit tonight for Sale. I don't want to take anything away from them, but I think, as I said, you travel back on a Sunday evening, and then you're already playing again on a Friday night, and sooner or later, you're going to draw breath.
When you know who you're playing against, and one of the best 9s in the league, Chudley, he's got a bounce rate around about 70%, which means after every instant that he's involved in, he's back on his feet within 3 seconds, and he's one of the highest in 9s in that ratio, and his work rate behind his front line is phenomenal. We saw him slide across the floor, take a kick. We saw on occasions there, you don't put kicks on the floor against Exeter unless you're going to go a lot deeper and try and bring Turner or whoever they got at fullback forward onto the ball. If you put it into Chudley's area, he'll sweep it all up, he'll clear it all up, and it's then a null void kick.
Rob, let's talk about Will Chudley. He's a really good player, brings a lot of pace to your game, good decision making too.
Yeah, and there's no doubt, we have missed him around and about on the training field and on the playing field, And a little bit like Austin says, he's almost his own worst enemy. He works so hard and he's so brave that we keep breaking him a little bit, and we've got to probably look after him a little bit better than we do at times. But he's certainly had a fantastic game tonight, showed a lot of composure, a lot of control, and as well, just a lot of real drive and energy. And he is one of the guys who just does keep us very sparky.
Let's look at the try, Rob. Talk us through your feelings at the time it was scored, and is it something you're used to seeing him do? Now have a look at this here.
Well, I think that with Chudders, because of his work rate and his work ethic, he does end up, on half breaks a lot. It is something that's really good in his game. He timed his slide really well, and he's not flying over, is he? But he's got his head down and he's working hard, and that's the kind of guy he is, and he is just. He's one of those guys. It's always a pleasure to coach because you know how hard he's working and how brave he is. And as I said, it's probably, it's our role to make sure we keep managing to make sure he keeps right at his peak.
I don't know if we can show that high shot again of the try, but one of the reasons why he's so good in support is good scrum halves who support in front of the ball. They don't drop behind the ball, so it enables you to get onto a secondary pass when someone breaks in the outfield. So you watch him here, he makes the pass, and then rather than dropping behind the ball, he goes in front of the defensive line. It's not as obvious on that, but I think he did one last week which created a try against Worcester where he supports well in front of it and gets you 5 or 6 yards in front of the defence. So any young nine that's watching, rather than pass the ball and drop directly behind the ball, believe that your team are going to make a half break or a full break and get in front of them. You can always drop back under to make the ruck, and I think he does that really well.
I enjoyed seeing Thomas Waldron looking for the ball on the other side. Is that you can sniff a try from quite far out. You have 30 seconds to tell us all how you're going to fare against Bordeaux in Europe over the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, we've just said to the lads, there's only one thing that we can go for, which is 2 bonus point wins, isn't it? Otherwise, at least we can have some fun going for something and shooting for the stars, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, can we put a performance on the Stanley Park pitch next week that potentially gets us 4 tries and a win, and that keeps the next week interesting for us and a nice trip to Bordeaux. If we don't do that, there's not going to be a lot else to do in Europe for us.
And you're heading back down to Exeter tonight, are you?
Yeah, we're going to jump on our bus, as we always do, full of cider and pasties, and have a good old sing-song, and we'll have a nice trip back.
Well, enjoy it. Thanks so much for joining us.